Hello everyone, my name is Pavelsabacky. I'm a composer, and one of the projects I'm working on right now is this fun indie game, and we thought it could be fun to show you how a single cue comes to life, all the way from the briefing, through composing, revisions, to mixing and delivery. So let's get to it. Enjoy.
What's really cool about this project is that the game dev decided he wants me to use the legendary SK88 Pro synthesizer, which has a history in game music and sound, and so he got his hands on one and he shipped it to me. Now, since there was a lot of trouble with sending MIDI to it and receiving the signal back, I ended up manually sampling and creating 54 virtual instruments out of this puppy. So I recorded it into Reaper, cleaned up the samples, dragged them into Contact, set up loops where needed, scripted some legatos where needed, and I basically built a custom template in Reaper that I could work in. Alright, so the first thing I'm gonna do is check my briefing from the game dev. So the area is called Twisty Forest. We can see on the second picture here that it's gonna be turning. I'm gonna show you a video later. And it's leading to the evil layer, which is this precarious building. The area is kind of short. There's a lot of ambience already, so we're gonna keep that in mind. The theme for this area is to be a very dark and scary forest theme. I want to make this theme incredibly disturbingly sounding, so that when the player walks through the area, they get a scary feeling. Add some weird, scary noises between it, resounding drums, make it sound like the area is huge and dark, like you're a tiny person walking through it. Alright, and then next thing the dev did, he sent me some reference tracks. So we're gonna take a listen, and I'm gonna write down some notes. First one is the forest temple. So first thing is actually I recognize that patch, that wooden clingy thing. That's unclunked from the SK88 Pro. So I'm just gonna jump through. Okay, so what I hear is definitely a lot of choir. We have some chromatic chords happening there, or chromatic movements. There's like a flute-like lead, and so it's kind of flowy, slow tempo, kind of ambient. There was also this middle section. Alright, next one is a strange house theme from Bushyman. Cool. So again, I hear some chromatic movement, this time in a harp. Suspenseful strings, I would call it, maybe. Suspenseful strings. There was this thing there. Let me see again. I don't know where it was, but there was like a kind of thing. So I would say sound design elements. There was also like a gong slash gamelan thingy. Let's keep going. Song of Healing Reversed. This is Zelda again, I believe. Oh yeah, I know that one. So basically, reverse sounds. And the last one is a stone tower temple. Alright, so we have some parallel power chords and a lot of strings. You get some perks and drums. We got choir again. And we got a bassoon melody. That's cool. Flute melody and bassoon contra melody. It kind of feels like it's in a Phrygian mode or something like that. Phrygian. So what's common? We have last thing I want to do is to, based on the brief I got in looking at the pictures. Oh, actually, let me show you the video. Right, so truly there's a lot of sound design happening. There's some kind of laughs and screams and what kind of a room tone. Like a wind sound kind of thing. And some leaves rustling and crackling and... what was that? So what I think I'm going to add to this is that twisting, turning might, in musical terms, equal of a circular melody. I also think we should use some wood percussions, you know, like log drums and claves and things that are wooden sounding. Alright, so this is my template. We have woodwinds, brass, drums, chin percussions, a lot of them, choir, and then strings. As you can see, I even have some articulations there. This is all from the SK88 sample. So what I did is I added a bunch of new sounds specifically for this cue, for the Twisted Forest cue. First of all, we have some horn rips, which are really nice. If we can get them to play. I got some church bells. Also tubular bells. The log drum I mentioned. Some percussion hits. These suspenseful strings that are just high strings sampled in octaves. They're gonna be nice. It's kind of a Bartok pizzicato. It sounds more like a slap bass, but like an electric bass kind of sound. But when you pair it with the actual pizzicato, sounds quite nice. Adds a little bit of bite. I added this kind of sub bass sound. It's gonna be nice. And this rumble bass, which has a cut-off modulation. And so I wanted to show you what I meant by the circular melody. Is I did a little sketch here. I'm not sure I'm going to use this. It's just for demonstration. What I meant is it's a melody that could possibly continue forever, descending or ascending, but at some point you use an octave displacement and it keeps you kind of circling around. So I did that with the F minor chord, then went to B flat minor chord, and I'll just play it. Right, so it's basically just the F minor chord. Let me grab my sketch piano. So it's just F minor chord. And from each chord to note, I'm jumping up a tritone. So you get F, F, B natural, C, F sharp, A flat, D, and then an E as a passing note back to F. And then it could basically just jump again like that. And we could continue all the way down. But instead there's this jump up. And also at the second part we are using the leading note to actually do a tritone jump down. And that's how we land into B minor. And so it's just basically B flat, E natural, F, B natural, C, F sharp, C, D flat, G natural, A natural, and then I went down to F minor. So it's gonna be something like that. Might be the main motif. We'll see. I'm gonna go work on it for a bit, and once I have something worth showing, I'm gonna get back to you. Been messing with it for a couple hours, and I think I have something to show for it. So let me just play the whole thing for you first. It's about 40 seconds, and then I'll talk about what I did and why. Right, so I think I started with this low bass paired with the double basses and a choir. Right, then I added the suspenseful strings. I added this pulsing, kind of glitchy sound. Right, and also this insect-like effect. A lot of stuff's happening with tune percussions, where we have the harpsichord, piano harp, the bells, the church bell, the tubular bells, sub hits. So that was the circular melody. It's a little bit different than what I showed before, but I actually used the same notes, just arranged them a little bit differently. We got some nice reversed sounds, like this harpsichord and the music box. Or a piano here. Simple, usual stuff. Also this flute attack. Yeah, I like that one. There's also this cluster of French horns playing the 9, 10, 11, and 12th harmonics of the harmonic series, and I tuned it accordingly to that. There's some action in drums. Mostly subtle, soft, boomy stuff. So I would say this is kind of like an intro, and then from would be like the main section, the middle section, and then some kind of pre-loop portion which will bring us back. And I think the looping's gonna happen without the stinger at the beginning, which is a brass kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'm gonna send it to the dev, see what he thinks. He's gonna probably give me some feedback, and then I'll keep working on it.
Alright, so I sent it to the dev. He said he likes the direction he's taking, but he wants more of a recognizable melody. So I decided to take that circular melody motif we have so far, make that into like a texture or a secondary melody thing, and I'm gonna take that B section and probably some woodwind instrument, maybe the saxophone, and just craft some kind of, you know, a tune, a melody on top of it. So we'll see how that goes.
Alright, so I worked on it for a bit, and I think I came up with a decent melody. It's a simple 4-phrase melody that keeps repeating through the B section, and each time building up an instrumentation. Then woodwinds come in, and strings and horns and so on, until it's nice and full, and then it goes into the B2 section. And that was a very good suggestion from the dev to use like a kind of a creepy voice or a choir. So I added a boy choir. Right, and so this section has a lot of reverse sounds and a lot of sound design elements. Reversed piano. And that is paired with the music box. And there's another reversed piano, just one, and it's kind of like a suction effect. It's sprinkled around quite a bit. Chopped up harpsichord reverse. That is actually paired with, if I can find it, and there's a reverse pizzicato. Let me get to the choir. So we have the actual melody. Then, at the beginning of each phrase, I have this reversed note of the choir itself. Underneath all that, there's the whole thing reversed. So it's a nice little soup of voices, and I'm going to record a live vocal over that as a lead, probably. And for now, I have the loop happening like this. And well, last thing I would mention, there's this reversed motif, the circular melody of the tune percussions has a little appearance in a reversed form here. It's almost unrecognizable, it's just kind of swooshing around. Right. So I think I reached a point where I basically milked everything as possible out of the SK88 sounds. What I'm gonna do is support it with some other virtual instruments and also record some live stuff over it, especially the horns and maybe some woodwinds and some more kind of effecty sounds. And I'm gonna send that to the dev, and we'll see if he's happy with that. And if he is, then we're gonna go to the mastering mixing stage. We'll see how that goes. So the dev approved this version, so we're coming to the final stages. What I did was I added some other sounds, some other libraries, some live recordings, enhancing, supporting some of the elements. So we're gonna have a look at that, and then it's off to the mixing. So right from the top we have a flute riser, if you remember from before. I paired that with another one. It adds a little bit more definition and bite to it. Added this brass crescendo to this mostly brass heavy transition. Sorry about any clicks, I don't know why that's happening lately. Also got rid of the initial trumpet glide. Realized the whole thing was coming in a little bit too hot, especially considering the area starts with a kind of a sound design thing when Bushyman enters the forest, so I didn't want to kill that completely with the music. Next we have Pandora, these kind of brassy impacts. I filled up the bottom end a little bit because there's already a lot of bass heavy sounds at that point. Got some extra drums, working with the toms. And nothing new here, but I went ahead and recorded my my amazing friend Bianca, and she basically sung the main theme just using Lala, very up close the microphone. I told her to leave it full of imperfections, intonation fluctuations, whatever, use it like a childish voice. Then added some formants on top of it, the formant modulator on top of it to make it sound even more childish and kind of creepy. So that's how that came out. Right, that's beautiful. And then put that through 4 different delays, pen them kind of opposite. Each of them is a different length as well, and that's creating this nice little soup. JC choir here, just supporting the main high choir. Used that in different tracks already for this game, so try and keep it consistent. It's nice and fuzzy, fills up the space beautifully. Also got some support for the low choir with ancient voices, just singing the thing an octave higher. And what else? A couple things in the strings. We have these stabs. Those are working with these guys. We got some BBC strings, just playing what the strings are doing with the melody, just adding some width to it. And got this pizzicato, col legno, aleatory kind of hive happening underneath the vocals. You can hear that aggressive dip there. That's from the side compression that's happening. What was happening, it's already baked in from the impacts. Lastly, we have this patch of low choir, low strings, and harp. Just adding some meat to the A section. And this tutti hit at the start of the whole thing. Right. So next step is to bounce everything to audio, open it in a new project specifically for mixing this, and it shouldn't be too much work since the template was already made in a way that everything should be kind of balanced and easy to mix. Alright, so I exported everything to audio. It was mostly small tweaks like panning, some EQing, some balancing. I remember I made the live vocal a little bit more present while the strings were kind of loud. So, you know, it was just like 2 dBs there, 3 dBs there, that kind of subtle stuff. Most important things are so first we have, this is what it sounds like dry. And so there's no reverb. And remember, most of these are SK88 samples I sampled, so they're dry. I sampled them dry. So what I did first was almost everything is sent to this room verb, which is putting all the instruments in kind of a room. I'm using 7 Heaven Studio B4. It's just 0.6 second. So there's actually, it's not like a tail, it's just putting stuff into the space. So if I play just that by itself. Right, so that's kind of putting it into a room, so to speak, but there's no actual reverb. That comes in later, comes in here. So everything from the room verb is going to the mouse verb, and that's 2 separate reverbs. So we have 7 Heaven, Boston Hall B, almost 2 seconds long. Right, so that's like an actual reverb with a little bit of EQ on it. And then we have a separate container that's running parallel to that, and that is a Valhalla Supermassive. And that's a really long reverb just by itself. Right, so that's a nice tail. And so that's running together. So if I play just the reverbs by themselves. The next thing that's happening is everything is going to this single track, each stem. So it's again dry without the reverb. It is going to the reverb from there, but by itself it's just... And it sounds horrible, and that's because it's a parallel compression, very high threshold, very low threshold, very high ratio, and the ozone imager is making it kind of wide. So just by itself, this doesn't really sound that good. But what I did is then mixed it in with the signal, with everything else. You know, by going a little bit there, back and forth, I ended up on minus 6.3 decibels. So that's how loud it is with the rest of it together. So I think the best place to hear it is here. Pay attention to the pizzicato hive. And when I put this in, you'll notice that all the little detail elements kind of a little bit more, they pop out, so to speak. Right, so that's just adding to a perceived loudness of the track in general as well. And then last thing is on the master, we have a little bit of, so if I take everything away, I'm gonna keep the limiter on just for safety. next step is going to be making sure this is a functional loop and rendering the whole thing, and also delivering it, which means putting it in our shared drive, and also writing a description of where the loop is happening, what's the tempo, what's the time signature, and so on. So when the person who is taking care of the implementation receives this, he doesn't, have that much work with it, trying to figure out what's what.
All right, so here's the document for the person who implements the music. As you can see, I write the name, the PPM, the time signatures. So here it's 9/8 because it's 9/8 the whole time for this track, but for the Twisted Forest, it's changing. So I write that out, including where it loops, including in words where it loops from to. And here I put it in F mod to kind of test it out. Set up the loop that's supposed to be, and this is also, I guess, the first time you're gonna hear the whole thing performed, so enjoy.
So I think that works. Obviously, it would sound much better or more realistic with some proper virtual instruments, like high quality ones. But that's the point of this game, is that we are using the SK88 to kind of evoke that nostalgia of old retro games. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this kind of an amateur documentary. Maybe it was helpful or interesting to someone. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.